scientists say something alive was seen on Venus. Don't scroll. This is not clickbait. It was said by a Soviet scientist who actually worked on the Venus mission. In 1982, the Venera 13 lander survived 127 minutes on the surface of Venus in heat close to 470 degrees Celsius. Right before it died, it took a photo. In that photo, there was something. Just a few centimeters long. It looked like a scorpion, sitting right next to the lander. And then it gets even stranger. 93 minutes later, another photo was taken. That thing was gone. You heard that right. Not blurry. Not hidden. Gone. 30 years later, the mission leader went back to those old images. He published a paper. The title said, "Possible Signs of Life on Venus." The moment it came out, the scientific world exploded. Some said he had lost his mind. Some said it was just hype. But even today, no one has fully explained what that thing was. What was it? Why did it appear? And why did it disappear? Hi, I'm Alia. Today, I'll walk you through the full story of how the Soviets spent decades trying to conquer Venus. First, here's something many people don't know. In our solar system, the planet most similar to Earth is not Mars. It's Venus. Venus has about 95% of Earth's diameter, about 80% of its mass, and surface gravity that is very close to Earth's. On paper, it looks like Earth's twin. So for a long time, scientists believed something big. If Venus is so similar to Earth, could it have oceans? Could it have weather systems? Could it even have life? Here's the problem. You think it's Earth's twin. But when we got closer, we realized something else. It's not a twin. It's hell. The surface temperature is around 470 degrees Celsius, hotter than many ovens. The air pressure is over 90 times that of Earth, like diving almost 900 meters under the ocean. The clouds are not water. They are thick sulfuric acid. No blue sky. No oceans. No calm weather. Just heat, pressure, toxic air, and a surface where most machines can't survive for more than 2 hours. And yet, the Soviets chose this place. In the 1960s, during the space race, the US focused on the moon. The Soviet Union made a different choice. They went for Venus. On the surface, it made sense. Venus is closer. Launch windows are favorable and orbital paths are efficient. But deeper down, there was a bigger dream. Beneath those thick clouds, could there be a hidden world? Maybe oceans. Maybe swamps. Maybe life. If someone proved life existed beyond Earth, it would be a discovery even bigger than the moon landing. So they took the risk, and they kept going for decades. But Venus hit back hard. In 1961, Venera 1 was launched. 7 days later, it lost contact. No warning. No explanation. Just silence. In 1965, Venera 2 failed again. Then Venera 3 actually reached Venus. It became the first human-made object to touch another planet. Sounds impressive. But there was a problem. It was already dead when it got there. No data. Nothing sent back. It's like climbing Mount Everest, but your camera is broken, your phone is dead, and no one knows if you made it. Most people would stop right there. But the Soviet response was simple. Keep going and go even harder. In 1967, Venera 4 finally made a breakthrough. It entered the atmosphere of Venus and started sending data back. At first, scientists were excited. They watched the numbers on the screen jump. Then the excitement slowly turned into shock. The temperature kept rising. The pressure kept rising. After 93 minutes, the signal suddenly stopped. Later, people realized what happened. It wasn't a power failure. It wasn't a communication issue. The probe was crushed by Venus's extreme atmosphere. But those 93 minutes changed everything. For the first time, humans truly understood. Venus is not a gentle twin of Earth. It's a super hell wearing a familiar size. And still, the Soviets did not stop. In 1970, they launched Venera 7. This time, engineers changed their approach. If parachutes can fail, if thin shells can't survive, then build it like a tank. A heavy, solid machine. And it worked. Venera 7 became the first spacecraft in history to successfully land on another planet. It survived 23 minutes on the surface and sent back key data. Temperature, about 475 degrees Celsius. Pressure, about 90 times Earth's. After 23 minutes, it died. But those 23 minutes were enough to make history. Because this was the first time humans didn't just fly by, didn't just crash, but actually landed on another planet. After that, it was like an obsession. The Soviets kept sending probes to Venus. Venera 8 returned more surface data. Venera 9 took the first images in history from the surface of another planet. And those images felt strange. Broken rocks everywhere. Sharp. Empty. Lifeless. The sky wasn't blue. It was a dirty orange. The whole world looked like a giant furnace sealed with heat and poison. No rivers. No plants. No signs of life. Just silence. Almost absolute silence. But the Soviets still wanted more. They wanted clearer images. More complete data. And maybe, just maybe, something unusual. So in 1982, the most legendary mission arrived. Venera 13. Venera 13 was one of the most advanced Venus landers of its time. To keep it alive longer, engineers pushed everything to the limit. Thick shell. High-pressure resistance. Systems built for extreme conditions. One goal only. Stay alive a little longer in 470 degrees Celsius hell. On March 1st, 1982, it landed successfully. Then it got to work. Measure temperature. Measure pressure. Analyze soil. Analyze the atmosphere. Then it opened its camera. For the first time, humans saw Venus's surface with real clarity. Orange-red sky. Jagged rocks. A view so heavy that it almost feels hard to breathe. Then it did something even more incredible. It turned on a microphone. For the first time, humans heard the sound of another planet. Low, muffled, heavy, like wind moving through ruins. Like a deep, distant rumble rolling through thick air. Because Venus's atmosphere is so dense, sound travels very differently. That's why it feels so strange. And in the end, Venera 13 lasted 127 minutes. Even today, that record is still legendary. But what made this mission unforgettable was not how long it survived, not the data, not even the sound. It was a single photo that sparked huge controversy. 30 years later. It was 2012. The Soviet Union was gone. The Venus program had long become history. But one scientist never forgot those images. His name was Leonid Xanthomality. He had worked on the original Venus missions. After retirement, he went back to the old data from Venera 13. At first, no one expected anything special. But when he zoomed in, enhanced, and compared the images again and again, he noticed something. On the ground, next to the lander, there was a small object, about 6 centimeters long. Its outline looked like an arthropod. Its shape, like a small scorpion. It wasn't just a blurry spot. It wasn't a trick of the terrain. Because in one image, it was clearly there. And in another image, taken 93 minutes later, it was gone. Not faded. Not unclear. Gone. And that wasn't all. In other images, he also found strange objects that looked like black scraps. They appeared in one frame and disappeared in the next. So he did something unexpected. He published a paper. And he made a bold claim. There might be signs of life on the surface of Venus. That set the scientific world on fire. Most scientists pushed back. And their reasons were strong. Venus has 470 degrees Celsius heat, extreme pressure, almost no water. It's an environment where most known life would instantly die. Not just animals. Even many materials can't survive. So the idea of something scorpion-like moving there sounds almost impossible. Many argued that the object was probably something else. A piece of the lander. An image processing artifact. Heat distortion. Or just rocks and shadows creating an illusion. But here's the problem. All of these explanations are possible. But none of them fully explain everything. That's why the debate is still alive today. Supporters say something different. Maybe our understanding of life is too limited. Who says life must be carbon-based? Who says it must depend on liquid water? Who says all life must follow Earth's rules? On Earth, near deep-sea hydrothermal vents, life survives in extreme heat and pressure. So, could Venus have its own unknown system? It sounds crazy, but not completely impossible. So the question remains, was that object just a rock? Or something we don't yet understand? Even today, no final answer exists. And the story doesn't end there. The Soviet Venus program slowly came to an end in the late 1980s. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, this decades-long effort stopped. But Venus was not forgotten. Later, Magellan mapped most of Venus's surface using radar. It revealed a world full of volcanoes. Then Akatsuki captured detailed images of Venus's atmosphere. And in 2020, scientists announced something surprising. They detected phosphine in Venus's atmosphere. On Earth, phosphine is often linked to microbial activity. The discovery is still debated. Some question the data and methods. But it brought back the same old question. Is Venus really completely lifeless? Now, humanity is preparing to return. NASA, the European Space Agency, and even private companies are planning new missions. Because Venus is too extreme to ignore. It's like a mirror. It shows how a planet similar to Earth can end up completely different. It's also a mystery. The closer we look, the more we realize how little we know. And that scorpion-like object keeps coming back in discussions. Not because it has been proven real, but because it has never been fully explained. And here's one more wild idea. Some scientists suggest that if humans ever explore Venus, we might not go to the surface at all. At about 50 kilometers above the surface, the temperature and pressure are actually close to Earth's comfort zone. That means the most livable place on Venus might not be the ground, but the sky. So imagine this, floating cities in the clouds of Venus. Humans living in giant airships, drifting above the planet, looking down at a 470 degrees Celsius world below. Maybe one day, this will become reality. And when humans return to Venus, and once again look down at that surface hidden under heat and thick clouds, the questions we left behind decades ago may come back again. Including that photo. The one taken at the very end of those 127 minutes. Maybe the answer is simple. Maybe it was just a rock. But what really fascinates us is not the answer itself. It's the human curiosity that never stops. Maybe one day we will return to Venus. And when we do, that missing object will appear again.